For the past few weeks of school, we've been working on a project called Metaphor Machines. Metaphor machines are where science and humanities meet to create amazing Rube Goldberg or chain reaction machines. These machines are themed steampunk. Steampunk is a retro-futuristic genre/aesthetic that is prominent in movies and books that take place in Victorian times. Copper, bolts, leather, and gears are popular materials used for steampunk, and you can see this in our machine. In science, we are learning all about circuits and blueprints, and in humanities, revolutions, and metaphors. All of these elements come together and show themselves off in an epic 6-part metaphor for the Haitian Revolution. Since we are learning about revolutions, we had to learn about the anatomy of one to be able to split it up into parts for our machine. We'll be focusing on Crane Brinton's anatomy of a revolution for this particular project, which he compared to a disease. It all starts with the incubation stage, when you're just starting to feel the symptoms, or if there's an economic crisis, sense of government injustice, weak rulers, intellectual opposition, class division, or military victory. All of these components can lead to the fall of an old regime. Next comes the moderate stage, where moderates peacefully try to enact a reform without too much violence. An example of this would be a protest. Now, the crisis stage. This is when things start to get violent. Radicals take over the government, committing more and more regicide, which is the killing of a monarch. It can end up in foreign or civil wars. Last but not least is the recovery stage. The violence ends, hopefully, and government is regained. Sadly, this recovery can go two ways. It can end in peace or just become another war. First two platforms on our machine represent the incubation stage, when the slaves of Haiti heard word from France that the slaves would be freed. This is when the first idea of a revolution began. When we drop the ball into the tube, it's a metaphor for the idea being in France. It falls into the small box, triggering a circuit we created, resulting in a light turning on as if the idea falls from France to Saint-Domingue or Haiti, inspiring the slaves to revolt. Which brings us to our next platform, where the moderate stage takes place. At the time of the revolution, the rights of man and citizen were put in place, meaning that some people of color were more fortunate than white people. The white people saw this as inadequate discrimination, revolted, and took over the city of Port-au-Prince. As you can see here, the marble leaves the tube rolling down a track, knocking over dominoes as it goes. A metaphor for when they revolted. When the marble enters the funnel, it represents when they took over the city. That was only the beginning of the violence. If you remember, the crisis stage is when it gets bad, meaning very, very violent. The slaves finally revolted, causing a war between the French, Spanish, British, and slaves. Metaphorically, the dominoes represent those different countries. You can see all of the different flags. The French were fighting too many people at once, so they freed the slaves, shown by the cage being lifted, sending the marbles to freedom. But that wasn't it. When they finally thought they were free, Napoleon, a French general, tried to reinforce slavery, starting a guerrilla war, but was defeated, which is shown by the car we made, traveling down the platform and dumping the marbles out. The last platform shows the resolution or recovery stage, where everything ends up okay in the end. Since the slaves defeated Napoleon, they were freed, and that is how Haiti became Haiti. The metaphor for the last part of the revolution is when the marbles jump out of the car and down a track to their final freedom. The Haitian Revolution was one of many revolutions, all greatly impacting history. The Haitian Revolution resulted in the freeing of slaves and the creation of the country of Haiti. Creating a machine to replicate all of that with metaphors brought us to understand how such a short period of time in history can change the future. I hope you enjoyed our metaphor machine for the Haitian Revolution.